Hello, guess who and guess what? Well, the guess who is me, Robbie Susan Chandler, an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator from Quincy, Florida, right outside Tallahassee, Florida. If you live in the area, I hold classes in my home, and I'd love for you to come over and join me for a class. So now let's get to the guess what. And this is the back of the guess what. Let me turn it over. You're going to love this card. Look at this. Now that's pretty like it is, but wait till you see what it does. It's a little pop-out card, and it stands up like that, and it looks like this from the front. Isn't that beautiful? I love this card. Now, I struggled with this stamp set when I got it. I kind of didn't like the fact that they didn't have eyes and all, but I've gotten used to that. And I remember too that there's a brand called Willow that does not put the eyes, nose, and mouth on their carved figures, and they're mostly nativity scene figures. Anyway, let's figure out how we made this card. Like I said, it stands up like that, and this is the front. All right, let's start on it. Let's start with our card base. I used Secret C for all of my dark colored cardstock. I like the Secret C. It's not quite as dark as the black, but it's a little bit different, not quite as blue as Night of Navy. So the base piece is 8.5 by 5.5, and we score it at 4 1/4 down the middle and 2 1/8 from each end. Now once you get it scored, to fold it, and I'll let you see that for a minute, 2 1/8 from each end, 4 1/4 in the middle. Alright, so to fold it, you're going to fold it in half. I'll get my little bone folder here. You're going to fold it in half, and then you're going to fold these side panels back, just like that. Let's turn the other one over, and just like that. So now we have this W-shaped piece. So this is our card base. Now we also have a brace, and here's the brace, and it's 8 1/4 by 1 3/4, and it's scored at 2 1/8, 3 1/8, 5 1/8, and 6 1/8. You're going to have to learn where the 8th is on your scoreboard when you do this, or on your whatever you used to score with. So 8 1/4 by 1 3/4, scored at 2 1/8, 3 1/8, 5 1/8, 6 1/8. Now to fold this, it needs to be folded like a T. So one side goes in, and then it goes out. Then the other side goes in, and then it goes out. So it looks like this from the top when it's folded, but the way we're going to assemble it, you want to shape it like a T. Now you are not going to glue these inside pieces together. That was the biggest mistake that we had this week, that in my classes, that we had to correct. But your glue goes on the outside pieces. So you put your glue here, here, and then when you do, you're going to insert it right here in the middle of this, just like that. And of course I have one done because I wanted it to be dry. So here it is. And see, from the top you can kind of see this, maybe you can, this T shape. But this is why you don't glue it together, because that's what makes it stand up. And the card could fold side to side like this. In fact, I'm going to show you why we would want to fold it like that in just a second. So let's get to the silver pieces. Alright, you need 2 of those, and they're 2 by 5 1/4. And any silver foil you have will work. I happen to use this one that has a little design in it. And I use the Peaceful Greenery embossing folder. And I just lay these pieces in here. Now you probably could cut it at 4 and then cut it in half, but I went on and cut it at the 2-inch. And I laid these right out at the edge of that. So there's just a slight opening right in the middle when you fold it down and run it through. Alright, so we have those embossed, and what you do to put them on, the easiest way, oh, and by the way, the Peaceful Greenery, you need the gray plate. If you don't have the specialty gray plate, you'll need to get our specialty gray plate for this to run through. It's one of our thicker ones. Alright, to put your silver pieces on, this is when you need to just fold it and flip this over, and then just adhere this one here, and then you flip it again and adhere this one over here. And one reason I'm telling you to put this brace on first, It's because if you put these on first and then try to put the glue on this and stick it in, chances are you might get glue on your foil and you won't be happy with that. Alright, so let's look at that. I've got one done. Here it is. It's already dressing it up, isn't it? So when the card folds up, this is what you see when you put it in the envelope. Oh, well, let me show you the back too. The back piece is a piece of smoky slate, and it's also 2 by 5 1/4. Smoky slate, 2 by 5 1/4. And I stamped it in Secret C. Secret C with this stamp set. Here's the little lamb down here. And for unto us a child is born is this. And then I use the stars from right there. So that piece just goes on any section in the back. You could put it on this side or that side or here, anywhere on the back. And then you have a little place for you to sign your name. So that's your sentiment piece. Okay, so we've got this together. Now let's talk about our main focal point for the front. Alright, to start with, you'll need 2 of these. This is Secret C, and it's 4 by 5 1/4, and you'll need 2 of them. One for the back brace, or for the backup piece of your silver piece, and then one to cut your arch. So you take your arch, and you're going to cut one of them like that, and you end up with this. And I used everyday arches, and I used, let's see, which one did I use? I used the next to the largest one. So these are I love these. These make the beautiful cards. This is the everyday arches, the next to the largest arch. So now we have our Secret C solid piece, our arch, but you notice there's a little design on there. Of course there is. I embossed it with the exposed brick just to give it a little interest dimension. So the arch is embossed with exposed brick. Now we need our silver piece, and the silver piece is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I made it a touch smaller than this piece, so when you glued it on you'd have just a tiny border around the edge. So this is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. I stamped my image in Versamark, embossed it with black embossing powder. I wanted it to be a little more distinct, and you know, our regular inks smear. I don't know if you can tell, but if you see there's a little dimension there, a little shine where that was embossed. So you just adhere that to this piece, which I've done. Here we go. So now you've got your back piece, and then you're just going to put this piece on. Now in my classes, some of the people were putting this on with dimensionals, and it was okay. In fact, I did this one with dimensionals. Sometimes if you don't put enough, it wants to bubble or wave. And so another option is just glue it on flat, which is what I've done with this one. And see, it just has a little smoother look and probably easier to mail. I also added a few little silver pearls from the set called Festive Pearls right up here in the corner. I felt like that corner was kind of bare. Okay, so now we need to put it on our card. Now here's the secret to putting this on the front of your card. And let me get my ink on this, my glue on this. So you're just going to put glue over that little tab, and you need to fold your card up like this. And this is going to be center, but you want it all the way to the bottom, because if this is not level with the bottom, your card won't stand up straight. It'll fall over. So level with the bottom. And I like to use the liquid so I can wiggle it around till I get it where I want it. And that looks pretty good to me right there. Alright, I'm going to hold that just for a second. You know how this glue takes it a minute to get tacky. Alright, I think we've got it. Yep, so it pops up. And this side is loose. There we go. And there's our card. Just like that. And I love the way this little greenery just kind of frames the front part. But it's a little pop-up thing. If you go back to some of my earlier YouTube channels videos, you'll also see I did the same design with the cross at Easter for an Easter card. I guess I kind of like this design for my religious type cards. So here's the front, isn't that pretty? And then here's how it stands up. Alright, I hope you like this card. It's really not that hard. please like my video, subscribe to my channel, and share it. If you need a demonstrator, I'd love to be your demonstrator. I'll have links to the supplies below, also a link to a free tutorial. And if you're hunting a team to be on, I'd love for you to be on my team. So until next time, happy crafting.